I'm Max Clark. This is 20 Minutes Max, and just going to riff on something that came up today, which is why you would purchase something from the big animal, the 500-pound gorilla versus a smaller upstart. In every category, there is a dominant incumbent. You know, let's just pick CRM. We'll use CRM first, right? So the dominant number one CRM vendor on the market is Salesforce, and second would be probably HubSpot, and then there's this entire layer of CRM companies, and some are going to be verticalized and industry specific, and some of them are just going to be service specific, and some of them are just going to be, hey, we're nicer and easier to deal with, and we're going to give you more features. And there's great, you know, I kind of cast this like umbrella term over this entire like, you know, multi-billion-dollar industry, but like there's fantastic options within that space. Now, let's go up a little bit and let's talk about the differences between the two of these. The disadvantage that you have dealing with a Salesforce, it is the slowest moving, arguably. It is going to be the most expensive, most likely. It is going to be the most aggravating to deal with. If you're anything like me, it's going to be the thing that you hate, that you love to hate, you know, like you just, you know, love to hate using it basically, or you love to hate paying for it, or you know, and you kind of find yourself constantly looking for an alternative because you just love to hate it so much. Or maybe you've gone down the path of like trying to integrate, you know, some sort of CPQ tool or some sort of billing tool and these other things, and that's causing you pain as well. So then you're out, you know, you're kicking the tires and you're looking at other stuff and you're evaluating these other things. And maybe you find one that you love, you know, that just sounds great. They've got a great logo. They use cornflower blue, you know, for the icon. It's, you know, the pricing is much better, all these different things, right? And so maybe that's a better pick for you. The thing that you're probably missing here with this is the advantage that Salesforce has about being the 500-pound gorilla is that everyone that is writing software to integrate with CRMs are going to start at the top and work their way down. Maybe the cost of that add-on is going to be the most expensive adding on top of a Salesforce, and then kind of like work its way down in tiers. But if you need something like a CPQ engine or a billing engine, you're going to find more options that are more mature, that have been in the market longer, that are going to work on top of Salesforce than you're going to find for anything else. Zoho is a really interesting CRM platform. But you know what? You're not going to find a lot of options for it, you know, from third parties. Why? It's just got smaller market share, you know. And if you're building something that overlays on top of another platform as your value proposition, you know, you want to have the largest market possible. You know, why? You'd be crazy to write a piece of software to go, you know, integrate on top of something that's got, you know, 1% of the market share. You know, you want to go write something that's got 60% of the market share, or whatever actual, you know, market share that Salesforce has. So I give this example. I start with Salesforce, right? Now maybe you don't need all the features. You don't need all the add-ons. You don't want all the different stuff. Then great. You know, like now, like the landscape is wide open for you. You can go anywhere that you want. There's a really funny joke about Salesforce and CRM that I'm just reminded of, which is, you know, it's something like, you know, which CRM should you run? And the answer is it doesn't matter because the first VP of sales that you hire is going to migrate you to Salesforce anyways. So, you know. It's kind of like when you bring on marketing, you know, any sort of experienced marketing team is going to want to run the tool that they're used to, which more than likely is going to be like Marketo or Pardot. I don't know if it's Pardot or Pardo. I've heard some people say it one way and some people say the other way. So, you know, correct me and tell me which way it's actually true, because I'd love to actually know if it's Pardo or Pardot. Or maybe it's HubSpot. You know, you're running HubSpot on top of Salesforce, which is still pretty common. But anyways, I'm going to go completely sideways. Now, I've given the example with Salesforce and CRM, but I'll give you the same example with productivity tools, right? You know, Asana versus Monday versus ClickUp versus Basecamp versus a bajillion other tools, right? You know, I love the flow of Basecamp. Integration options for it are just very different from an Asana. You know, if you're looking for something that's going to be the nucleus of your, you know, or Trello, you know, if you're looking for something that's going to be the nucleus of your, you know, work management tooling, is integrations important to you? You know, that might be a really big factor of which tool you end up running. Google Workspace versus Microsoft 365. Now, I mean, in terms of like ecosystem and dominance, they're both enormous. There's a huge, there's plenty of market outside of it. But, you know, you wouldn't necessarily go to some other email host and expect to get the same level of integration and options that you would see with a Workspace or Microsoft 365. I mean, like the cost differential that you're going to have in that one is like insane. Like, what are you doing? Just stick with Microsoft or Google Workspace. Don't try to like optimize your business by doing something correct. By the way, I built and ran like large scale email platforms for ISPs for many years, and I would never ever want to manage my own email system ever again for the rest of my life. Like, it is just, you don't need to take that pain on. What else? Pick any piece of technology, right? Single sign-on system, your HR platform, your UCaaS or CCaaS platform, so your phone system, right? This isn't like an argument that you should go out and only do business with RingCentral, but third parties are going to write an integration for RingCentral before they write one for, an open phone, for instance. Also a very interesting platform. There's really good tech out there, and there's really interesting things. And part of what you're evaluating is not the point. The point of all this, the point of this, what are we at? 6-7 minute rambling rant at this point is when you purchase a tool that you integrate into your business and you build your business around this tool, the hardest thing to understand and to know, unless you've done this before, and maybe part of it's just because I get to see this. I've been doing this for so long, and I've seen this so many times, and I get to do this daily with our clients. And I get to see people at like such a wide variety of like where they are and like their evolution and their journey, right? From initial startup to like scale and growth to like the other side of the hill where, it's cleaning up for an acquisition, or maybe they're going through, they've hit, a period of downsizing and cost management issues, that whole story arc, right? The businesses go through. But when you're buying something and you're integrating that thing and you're going to run your business on top of that thing, it really sucks if you find out in like 18 months that thing that you have just doesn't do the next thing that you need it to do. It really sucks in the CRM space when you decide that we want to bring on and start doing, we need a sales enablement platform. We need a tool that'll help us do, account-based sales, email sequences, and drip campaigns. Well, that's really more of a marketing deal, but sequences and LinkedIn touch points and social media and auto phone calls and A/B testing, all the different stuff. And you turn around and you go, wait, our CRM doesn't. There's no tooling for that with the CRM that we picked. And then what your option is to run two things isolated from each other, which is a nightmare. Don't do that. Or you end up with a migration, and you end up having to migrate your data, but then go through and modify, train everybody working for you, and then modify your processes and how your business actually operates to that new tooling, right? And I'm sorry, like, I don't care how good this is, it's massively disruptive. It sucks. It sucks. Every CRM and ERP migration I have ever been involved with, attached to, learned about. I mean, it's just nobody. The only people that get excited about CRM or ERP migrations are the consultants that do the CRM and ERP migrations. And that's just a different level of nerdery that we're just going to not talk about. But it's a very interesting kind of exercise that we have to go through when we're giving advice to our clients around what service providers, what technology, what platforms, where are they today? What do they need today? What's the tactical response to what's going on within the business? What's a pain point? What's an objective? Like, how do they accelerate revenue? How do they accelerate growth? How do they increase efficiencies? These sorts of things, right? What comes next? And what comes next could be in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months or 18 months or 2 years or 3 years, but there is a next. There is something next. Nothing is static, right? It's, in some cases, maybe it just takes a long time. Like, maybe you were one of these people on like Skype for Business or Link and you're being forced to upgrade to Microsoft Teams, after running this platform for however long you were running it. But there is always a next. And that question around next is a very interesting one when you're figuring out what is the correct combination or what's the correct partner and service provider technology, whatever these different things are in order to accomplish those needs. So, these what's a fun example? Like, you need your phone system to integrate with your overhead paging at the same time a video doorbell system to gain access control into your organization, and you want to have the whole thing talk to each other because your video doorbell needs to be able to call inside extensions when somebody pushes a button on it. And what is that integration? It's 2023, so you want that video doorbell has finally transitioned from an analog POTS connection to a SIP connection. Well, what SIP service providers are they certified with, right? Well, again, going back to my example there, that video doorbell system is going to start at the top of the list. What is the most common platform? And they're going to start there, and they're going to work their way down based on the addressable market and what their target customer is probably doing. So, if you decided to home brew your own asterisk-based phone system, run that yourself, or, that's what your IT team decided to do at some point because they thought it'd be fun to learn about Asterisk and how to run an Asterisk phone system, or, because it's going to save you a ton of money. Okay, great. But then you turn around and you say, okay, great. Now we need to integrate a Crestron Mercury video conferencing platform, or a 2-in video doorbell, or, whatever it may be, some your overhead paging system. And hey, guess what? Surprise, it's not supported. In a lot of ways, when you try to do it and you try to save money and try to do it cheaper, you end up spending more in the long run. So before you make that decision to go out and think you're saving money and try to do something a little sly and go with a cheaper option, there's a reason why it's the cheaper option. And take a few minutes to really kind of contemplate, what's happening? Is this thing truly static? Is there what comes next? Are you getting pigeonholed into something? Are you going to wake up in a few months and find out that, you're stuck with a headache that you don't need to have? I'm Max Clark. That was less than 20 minutes.